I mean, not me. I'm not going to live like that. I went and spoke to 800 people and 1,100 people and no security, no bodyguards. You know, the venues had their little security guards like ushers because I'm not going to live in fear. Now, I mean, I understand the strategy of, you know, surviving and being able to cover things, but I'm not, you know what? I'm just not, you know what? I'm 100% straight on to the New World Order. I'm coming in hard, and that's the end of it. I'm charging. And that's what I'm doing because that's the only thing that feels good. If the minute I start giving in to fear, I just can't handle it. I'm all in. My family, me, everything, not compromising, not backing off. Because there's a power structure in this country, and the Republicans want America to be this big empire and corporate welfare and the rest of it. But the Democrats are the side of the New World Order that really do want to break up the whole family, re-education camps, Che Guevara, total takeover. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you why, finally, from Michael Savage to you name it, they're coming out and saying that clearly Breitbart was killed. Because Breitbart was going to release the fact that Obama is a terrorist. He was going to release it yesterday with the proof. All right, we're back live here. This situation with Breitbart dying is extremely suspicious. He went into a bar in his neighborhood and had reportedly 2 glasses of red wine. Did not appear to have any health problems or to be drunk. He had a political discussion with a big advertising executive that he just met, who's on record in the news, talking about it, and left. And then collapsed, was taken to the hospital, and they say he was dead. Now, he did have some heart problems in the past. People do die at 43 sometimes, though it's rare. But here's the deal. We now have had time to forensically go over this, which others aren't doing. That's why we're breaking all this. And if you go to drudgereport.com, who's covering it, the top story at drudgereport.com is the Breitbart. Wait till they see what happens March 1st. And again, we'll put that article up on screen for viewers. But if you go to the Drudge Report, you can see it up there in the top left-hand corner. Andrew Breitbart, wait till they see what happens March 1st. He said that about a week before he died. Also, they're doing what they were supposed to do now. See, another big telltale sign that this was some kind of assassination is that within 2 hours of he being dead, within 2 hours of him being dead, they said natural causes, LA Times and others. And then they said, well, we don't know why he died, but it's natural causes. Within 2 hours, and that was being put out. That is always the telltale sign. You noticed with every other death, whether it's Michael Jackson or whether it's Whitney Houston, it takes weeks, if not maximum 6 days, like Whitney Houston. So out of the gates, it's natural. Now, a couple weeks before, in early February, he says, I'm going to release footage of him in college palling around with the weathermen and people like that. And there's a new article at Infowars.com. Breitbart's footage shows Obama palling around with terrorists. This just broke. Obama's weather underground friends wanted communist dictatorship set up in America. And it shows them hanging out with the guy that openly called for this. The footage that Andrew Breitbart planned to release just hours after his ultimate death would have proven hugely damaging to President Obama's re-election hopes because it shows Obama fraternizing with weather underground terrorists whose goal it was to set up a communist dictatorship inside the United States. Now, the Breitbart site is saying that it will be released soon, and the Associated Press is also picking up on that. But will it be the full footage? It's kind of like Eyes Wide Shut. The director had final cut. He refused to cut 24 minutes of it, Stanley Kubrick, and he died of a heart attack the day after he refused and said he would sue them if they didn't go along with it. What did it show? Elite families engaging in human sacrifice, which we know that type of stuff goes on. That's just what the elites are into. Oh, in fact, I've got an article about that today we'll be covering later in the mainstream news. So, all of this is going on. He says, I'm going to release footage. I'm going to release this footage soon. He comes out, he says this. He says, I'm going to release this footage. It's going to really hurt Obama. We're going to vet him this time. This time we're going to look at his real past. Obama is pumping trillions to foreign banks. Obama is giving billions here, 500 million there, billions to Acorn, $500 million to this group who never built a single, energy system, alternative energy system. Just total looting, total payoffs, shipping guns into Mexico that's killing cops, killing Border Patrol, killing thousands of Mexican citizens, they estimate. Shipping narcotics in, that's in the federal court cases. Chicago Tribune, El Paso Times, months after we broke it. And now, this group of known mafia criminals who killed cops, who exposed Oklahoma City as an inside job, and threatened others that I've interviewed. You quit investigating our involvement or you and your wife are dead. This is the type of stuff that's got the system scared. Because if we just start standing up to the bullies and saying, okay, go ahead and kill me, what you going to do? They can't get us all. And let me tell you, this is going to backfire on them. All the Arkancides and the rest of it. When, I don't know, it was like 7, 8 years ago, Rush Limbaugh started talking nice about Bill Clinton and saying, oh, I met him in a steakhouse. He's nice. Bill Clinton started saying nice things about him. So when you get to that superpower level, these guys start getting scared and they want to play patty cake with each other. But if you're an Alex Jones, if you're a Michael Savage, if you're an Andrew Breitbart, if you're a Matt Drudge that they can't control, you are enemy number one. I mean, look, it's come out that the White House spies on Matt Drudge and his website and Homeland Security, that he sets the media agenda, and they don't like that. Let me tell you, pray for us all, folks. And if anything happens to us, they killed us. The White House even came out a week before the release of the book exposing that he didn't have a birth certificate, and the governor saying he'd gone to look for it, it wasn't there, and all the rest of it. They release it. The White House releases it because they were so concerned. Then they had Vanity Fair announce that the book had been discredited and recalled, and they were offering everybody's money back as a black op to really try to kill the book and bankrupt the publisher. Because you don't just pay for the recall. They were saying full retail value. So you sell it for $10 to the bookstore. They sell it for $25. You're totally out the money. They tried to create a run on recall, the reverse of a run on a product. And so undoubtedly, Andrew Breitbart signed his own death sentence, and it's been declassified. The CIA, but also huge corporate hitmen groups, many different nations. There are scores of different chemicals and compounds that metabolize out by the time they kill you. And they can tailor them for health problems you've already got. I mean, this is on record for 100 years. They can throw nicotine on you, and it will go through your skin. The mobster generally will be wearing a glove, though, because if it gets on them, it'll kill them. Pure nicotine, it'll go right through the skin, make you have a heart attack, especially if you've got heart problems. They could put, shake their hand, and they've got thin gloves you can't even see, and they just put it on there, shake your hand. Person goes, takes the little glove. It's a one-side glove off. Boom. I mean, this is all on record. So he goes in a bar by his house where they know he goes almost every day, talks to people, gets that drink, drinks 2 glasses of wine, goes home to go to sleep to release the footage. And by the way, I've been pointing this out since yesterday, and now talk show hosts are repeating it because it is common sense, but they're leaving something out. Everybody's saying if they release all the footage and release his communist connections to terrorists and the fact that he hung out with terrorists and is basically a terrorist, communist terrorist, if all this is released, then we know it wasn't a hit. Folks, it was supposed to be released. Now listen to me, because you're getting breaking analysis here that I've seen no one else say. It was supposed to be released, he said, yesterday, March 1st. Now, Fox News and others are reporting that the Breitbart folks they had on Hannity last night are saying it'll be released within 2 weeks. Why do you need 2 weeks to release something that was going to be released yesterday? You better believe an organization that big will be infiltrated. You better believe that people are being offered things. People are being threatened. Because this is about trillions of dollars And who gets it? The Republicans are just as bad in many cases as the Democrats. But they fight with each other over being in charge so they can distribute all of that largesse in different nepotism ways and others. You know, Congress people say, well, we're allowed to insider trade. We're allowed to pass laws to give government contracts to companies we own or that we're principals in or that our wives or brothers or cousins own. Of course, it's illegal, but Congress gets caught doing it, and they say, well, we're just allowed to now. We're allowed to torture. We're allowed to launch wars without congressional approval, Obama says. We're allowed to have anti-gun regulations that aren't law, the ATF said last year. We just do what we want now, or the UN says I can. You see, once they start getting rid of the Bill of Rights and Constitution, and we let them get away with getting rid of a few of them, now they're getting rid of the entire Bill of Rights. They're like, well, sky's the limit. And here's the big question I want to ask everybody. I want everybody to listen to me very, very carefully. This is important. In fact, do me a favor. Kurt Nemo's right next to us in his office. Will you call him in here, please? Because I meant to tell him this before the show, and I got stuck in other meetings. So just call Kurt in here. We'll have a total transparency meeting right now in front of everybody. Okay, he's at lunch. Oh, that's right. I saw him updating and doing stuff this morning. That's right. He's out doing stuff right now. Get me Watson on the line. Get me Watson on the line right now here on air, please. Thank you. I'm going to say this here in front of the whole world right now. Because Obama demanded the NDAA and demanded that the section be added by the senators to allow him to secretly arrest, torture, disappear, kill Americans. In fact, guys, I meant to have you pull this up. We'll just do all this on air. Type in The Atlantic, that's a big liberal establishment publication, in Google Web. Type in The Atlantic and the headline, Why Obama Can Kill Americans. Why Obama Can Kill Americans. It's from October of last year, 2011. It's just one of hundreds, but that's the first one that comes up. The Atlantic, Why Obama Can Kill Americans. And they go on to explain, before the NDAA was ever passed, that Obama was killing citizens overseas without judge, without trial, without declarations of war, and that his lawyers argued then, we can kill citizens even in the U.S. without ever even letting anybody know. Now, because there is a NDAA, because there is a National Defense Authorization Act, just because it even exists. There it is, the secret memo that explains why Obama can kill Americans, The Atlantic. The Department of Justice produced it prior to the assassination of Anwar al-Awlaki, but they won't release it. Well, they've said publicly, we'll kill citizens for any reason, including if they don't turn their guns in. They say they can kill anybody. They say they can kill 1 million people. The president is God. He can launch wars without congressional approval. He can torture people. He can do anything. This is just like Hitler announcing he was the Fuhrer, der Leader. Now, Obama demands in the NDAA, listen to me carefully here. This is important. I'm risking my life to tell you this. The NDAA, Obama demanded by Senator Graham, Williams, Senator Graham, Lindsey Graham, of course, Senator Joe Lieberman, Senator John McCain, and others, and they're on record. We played the clips at nauseam. It's been all over the news. He demanded that the provision for him to arrest, kill, torture, disappear, black bag, no one ever knows where Johnny goes. Nobody knows where your wife goes. Nobody knows where you go. He demanded and said, I'll veto if it's not in there. And then when Obama came out and said, I'm going to veto this is terrible, take it out, the senators came out and said, you are the one that demanded this. Here is the White House legal letterhead where your lawyer said you wanted this. And Obama said, well, I did, but let's not discuss it. I'm still going to veto it. That way that killed opposition, because people are like, well, he's going to veto it. We shouldn't have fight it. That kills debate. It passes. He signs it, as I told you he would do.